Welcome to Blue Planet Travel Banter. I'm Igor Korniev.
And I'm Alex Essenberg.
We are in Isla Colón, that's our favorite island, and it has a lot to offer. Restaurants, activities, and wildlife, and our favorite, sloth.
The oso perezoso, which is Spanish for lazy bear, and a much more fun way to say that.
The fun fact about them is that they are so slow that the green algae grows on them. What I mean, you'll find out in a little bit.
They're these peaceful, silent, and actually pretty complex creatures.
Unfortunately, we had a run-in with one not under the best of circumstances a couple of weeks ago. But first, a few facts about them.
We became slightly obsessed with the oso perezoso, and we did some research. I found out that there's two main types, the two-toed and the three-toed sloth.
And Isla Colón has brown-throated three-toed sloth, Bradipus variegatus.
They eat mostly leaves, and not only is their movement so slow, their digestion is actually really slow as well.
Their lifestyle is slow, period. They are asleep. They sleep for 15, 18 hours a day. I know it's a dream for a lot of people, not me necessarily, but I sometimes get it.
They do come down out of the trees one time during the week.
To poop. That's their number two. It takes forever and it's a process. And that's how we actually had a run-in with one.
We were doing our typical Sunday walk on the beach.
And as normal, I was walking through the jungle looking for coconuts. And I saw this brown little mound, looks like a termite mound actually, and a couple dogs rushing about. They're not barking but growling and almost trying to bite it. So as I got close, I realized there was a sloth on the ground. And I shoot away the dogs, chased him off with a machete, and I called you.
Yeah, I came over and you just rushed the dogs out of the way. I saw the sloth on the ground. This is my first encounter with the sloth in captivity or in the wild. Crazy to see and fascinating, but sad, of course. It was not visibly injured, but obviously traumatized.
We observed it for a little bit and kept the dogs out. But what's recommended in this situation is to actually put it back in a tree because the dogs may return.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about those dogs. One looked domestic. It had a collar on. The other one was a little bit more mangy, but they worked as a team, so I don't know. So we picked it up and carried it to the tree. It was so light.
And we kind of made sure it stayed in the tree, making sure all four of its limbs were attached and to see if it would move. But it moved so slow, we couldn't tell if it was injured or just moving as normal.
It was just hard to even gauge on the progress, and we didn't know if it was hurt or not, so we stayed around for a little while. And when it looked a little precarious on the tree, I tried to pull it off for a bit just to see if it was holding on. And it was fine. It was doing all right, so...
Our friends did suggest that we call the sloth rescue just to have them come out and check on it and make sure it wasn't actually injured. So
we did, and then we went to have a beer. But did you notice something very cool about it?
Oh my gosh, yes, the green blue head.
And that's the algae that I was talking about. Sloth fur grows algae, giving them camouflage and a bunch of other things.
It's such a cool relationship. One of the only symbiotic relationships between plant and animal. They both give each other such great benefits. The camouflage, like you mentioned, and the habitat for the algae.
It's a relationship that evolved a long time ago. Apparently, the fur strands of the sloth are designed in such a scraggly way as to create a little mini human habitats for that algae that attracts bacteria and fungi that are beneficial to the oso perezoso.
Beneficial in the way that they give it nutrients. They give the sloth nutrients, trace minerals and all those things it can absorb. And the sloth also gives the algae nutrients.
Yeah, and also it carries it around and spreads the spores. So there is this interesting relationship that is going on. But it's visible in the color of the oso perezoso's fur. It's a mammal-plant mutualism that's going on here. Kind of fascinating. But it makes them kind of hard to find.
It definitely does that camouflage well. I mean, you're going to see them all over Isla Colón. Playa Bluff, Big Creek, the botanical gardens.
They live in those very leafy trees, Cecropia or Gurumo. as they call it here sometimes. They are the favorites. They are a little bit thinner, so it's easier for the sloths to climb and easier to hide in.
We also learned that the sloths on this island are a little smaller than your normals.
Island dwarfism, they call it. Apparently, it afflicts a lot of animals here just because of the lower availability of food than in the jungle.
They do live about 30 to 40 years typically, but they face a lot of threats on Isla Colón.
Yes, there are, of course, domestic dogs, roads, habitat loss are the primary key factors why they have been not threatened, by why their population is, stressed. But people are becoming a lot more aware of that, and as such, there is effort to rescue sloth that are injured, but also be a little bit more mindful in a way that people live around them.
I would love to see another sloth, one that isn't on the ground. Have you figured out how we can do that?
Yes, but it's very difficult in practice. You want to look for rounded, mossy shapes high in the trees.
Of course.
Typically specific trees as acropia ones, which they prefer. Early morning or late afternoons are the best times when they actually move a little bit more so you can spot them. And you have to move slowly, be patient, and definitely use binoculars.
Yeah, I think binoculars or maybe even a guide is a good way to do it.
They do have their favorite trees, so people who know where those animals live, they oftentimes find them in the same locations.
I love oso perezosos, even more so now. And they're such a great symbol of this like micro ecosystem harmony and their relationship.
Tranquility.
Yes. I mean, what better to teach you to slow down a little bit and be a little more present than an oso perezoso?
It's okay to be lazy sometimes, and they do this their entire lives and still seem to be happy.
That's all for now. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Blue Planet Travel Banter. This post is public, so please like and share. And be sure to rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.